Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. Here we are with episode 97. Today's very special guest is Vashti Bunyan. For those of you who do not know Vashti, I can't describe her entire story to you at this very moment, at least not here in the intro. It's a quite compelling story, actually. It's very interesting, and actually that's why she's here on the show, because she has written a book, a memoir of her story. What I have found out in our conversation is a portion of her story, the first half of of her life, from her early days as a budding pop star in London, England, to ultimately her fizzling out of the music industry by 1970. It's all described in her book Wayward, Just Another Life to Live, which is available on White Rabbit Books. It's a great story. I have received a copy of it, and I have read it in its entirety. It's a very easy and quick read as well, actually. So that's always good for me, because I'm not great with getting through books on my own. And but the story is wonderful. It's really compelling. We touch on it very briefly here on the show, in addition to speaking about an album that is important to Vashti, which the album she chose was Lambchop's 2008 record, Ohio. Great record. I was very interested in digging into it, but I only had a day, actually. By the time I finally received notice of what she was choosing, I had about a day before we had this conversation, and still managed to pull up some pretty good information. I may do pretty well, I think, for what it is. It's a very hard record to digest, so I did my best. I hope you enjoy it. All that we ask here at Vinyl and Vision is that you do all the things you do with the internet, like, share, subscribe, comment, rate, review, all of those things. We provide you links to all that stuff, and we really do appreciate it. I will also provide you links to not only the book that Vashti has released, but other her albums, so that you can listen to that too if you're not familiar with her work. Right now, what you're listening to is a song called Heart Leap off of her album called Heart Leap from 2014. It's the last album that she's released as of now. I say that you'll understand why I say that. At the end of the episode, I include a short clip of another song called I Like to Walk Around in Your Mind, which seemed fitting for the end of the conversation, because I certainly felt like I was walking around in Vashti's mind in this conversation. But that song is included on as a bonus track on new reissues of her debut album, Just Another Diamond Day, and I believe it is also on a compilation album of hers of B-sides and rarities and demos, which is called, I believe it's called the same thing, just I'd Like to Walk Around in Your Mind. I can't remember for sure, but I'll provide links to it nonetheless. So, needless to say, folks, thank you very much again for tuning in and for your support. We do really appreciate it, and enjoy.
Hello.
Hello, Vashti. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound pretty good.
Oh, good.
And you look great as well.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Vashti, right? Is that how you say
Vashti.
it?
Yeah, Vashti.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
You are in Scotland, correct?
Yes, in Scotland.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're about 5 hours ahead of me, so I will try to be brief about this and try not to take up too much of your time.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's just 5 o'clock. It's fine.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm a little discombobulated right now for a couple of reasons. One of them being is that I don't feel like I had a lot of time to prepare for this.
Oh, good. Neither did I.
Oh, good. Well, you don't have to do any preparing. That's the best part about, kind of being the guest, is that,
Sure.
I asked you a pretty difficult question. I understand it's very difficult, right? To try to narrow down one album that you think could be a pivotal album to you, like important to your artistry, what you do as an artist?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I didn't really get an idea of what you were wanting of me until Howard said, "Well, you need to choose an album to talk about." And I didn't know if it was something that meant a lot to me over time or something
Mm.
that I just love. And the
Hmm.
one that I chose is one that I just love. I don't know that it has been terribly influential on me, but probably
Right.
has. But then it came quite late on in my musical career, if you could call
Right.
it.
Yeah, and so your musical career is kind of a interesting one because of the weird timeline that it consists of
Yeah.
predominantly starting off in the 60s as kind of like a female pop singer for the most part, correct?
Yes. That's what I wanted to be. Yes,
Yeah, that's so
definitely.
funny. Well, let's start there then because that's an interesting place to begin because I feel like your journey kind of strayed very far from that. But so why did you want to be a pop star? What was like leading you into that world?
I loved pop music just growing up. I didn't have much access to it at that time in the UK. There really wasn't many ways to hear what was a sort of current popular music. But what I did hear, I loved, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Mm,
It had always appealed to me. Pop songs in general appealed to me. Although I was brought up with classical music, uh,
mm,
the I veered very much um, towards pop songs. Buddy Holly, goodness, Everly Brothers, all of that kind of music at that time just completely
yeah.
uh, absorbed me, and that's what I wanted to do, and to write those kinds of songs, and to I think what I really wanted to do was to write simple kinds of songs with just a guitar and have it get into the charts, into the pop charts. Of
Yeah.
course, I
Yeah.
never achieved that, but that was my ambition.
Yeah. And so what was your inspiration? Like, I mean, saying that you aspired to be this pop singer, I mean, like who did you look to as like your influence to be like, oh, I wish I could be like them?
Mm, I wanted to be myself, different.
Well, that's
Well,
unique.
yeah, well, that was the whole point. That was why I couldn't make any headway because all the female singers at that time, they were very much dressed in glittery ball gowns and the hair done up, and I just wasn't like that. I was just a scruffy art student, and
Mm,
so there wasn't anybody really that I could aspire to who was like me. All the female singers were definitely not like me.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were very much ahead of your time in that regard, and obviously that's clear to us now at this time that
Yeah.
that your music has kind of created such a legacy and such a I guess cult following is what they say about it, but a
Yes.
strong following of like, real strong admirers that really somehow found your work from back then because it seemed essentially buried.
It was buried. And although I tried very hard in the pop music arena, as it were, I failed as far as I was concerned. That I made all these records, and um, well, a lot of the recordings were not released,
Mm,
and that led me to leave it all behind. And the short version of the story is that I went off with a horse and wagon to travel the length of the United Kingdom. And on the way, I wrote songs, which then became an album recorded by Joe Boyd in 1969, of the songs I had written on the journey. And they are much more what people consider to be folk songs. That I was
mm.
a singer, that I changed from being this this girl who wanted to be a pop singer into somebody who was just writing folk songs. And so I find it quite difficult now to know what am I?
Yeah, no, I mean, I have the same problem actually, I think. Because like, so I read your book, I got an advanced copy of it, or at least a digital copy of it, and I finished it. So it's a great read.
Thank you.
So I feel like I know so much of this story already, and I don't want to give away too much because obviously we want people to still find that book and read it themselves. But
Uh-huh.
um, but you said something that's interesting because I think it was something that was mentioned in the novel or in the book that you didn't consider yourself a folk singer.
That's right. Yeah, I don't consider myself a folk singer. It was Joe Boyd, the producer of that album, Just Another Diamond Day from back in 1969, 70. He considered me to be a bit of a folkie, and so he brought other folk musicians in to accompany me.
Hmm.
And I didn't know them because I'd been away from music for a year and a half. I didn't know who they were. People from Fairport Convention and the Incredible String Band. I didn't know who they were, and they came in with their banjos and their fiddles and stuff, and made the music much more folky than I had intended. And in recent years, Joe Boyd has apologized to me for having brought those people in because that has made it so that I've always been called a folk singer from then on. And he said, but then when I came to visit you, you were with a horse and a wagon and a boyfriend and a dog living in a field, and you were living the most folky life of anybody I'd ever known. And so, of course, I thought that's what you were.
Hmm.
Um, and so he apologized to me, and it was really, really lovely that he did that. Of course, I'd forgiven him a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, he did help you out in a way. I mean, even if he labeled you as a folkie, the legacy of that album has obviously kind of carried on and really kind of developed your existing career.
Definitely, definitely. Without Joe, none of it would have happened. And
Right.
he was extraordinary. And yeah, I'm very grateful now. I mean, I can listen to the album and know what he did now. For
Hmm.
30 years, I couldn't listen to it at all.
Yeah, right. Because you couldn't
But
find it. You couldn't find a copy of it.
well, I didn't have a copy of it. I gave them all away a long, long time before.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, I think now, since its reissue in the year 2000, when it got a completely different response, well, it got a response, whereas before it hadn't had any.
right.
Um, it made me feel very differently about it. It made me feel very differently about my own ability to write songs. And yes, it made life very different for me. And
Hmm.
yes, if Joe hadn't made that album, I would never have come back to it in this part of my life. I would
Right,
never
right.
come back.
Yeah, we're going to get to that because that's also an interesting point that I really would like to touch on with you. But let's go back to where we started. You're wanting to be a pop singer as a young teen
Yes,
in the 60s. Uh, Now, I know that you had a violin as a child,
I did. Yes.
but you somehow obtained a guitar. How was that, and why did you want the guitar?
Well, I didn't enjoy playing the violin very much, and I could not learn to read music. And my violin teacher had me play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star every week. And so I gave up the violin. But when I went to art school, I was sharing a, um, digs, I guess we called it. I was sharing bed sitting room with a girl who had a guitar. And even though I had hated playing the violin, it definitely helped me to take up the guitar very
Hmm.
quickly.
Yeah,
And we both started writing songs at that point. Well, to the
right.
point where I got thrown out of art school because I wasn't going.
Too busy playing the guitar, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Okay. What could you say at that time was kind of like inspiring you to write songs?
I think at the time I thought that most love songs were soppy and sweet and silly, and that I wanted to write more about what I had experienced as the realities of falling in love and the misery of it all.
Hmm.
So I wanted to write sad little love songs, and that's what I set out to do.
Wow, you really were ahead of your time. Well, I love that. I mean, actually, I'm a pretty big sap for a love song and a sad song at that. So, your
Uh-huh.
music is right up my alley.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Thank you.
So, let's see. So you're aspiring pop singer in the 60s, and you did actually get a label, like a record deal, and you did do some recordings, which are pretty important looking on paper, at least, like reading about them, I was just like, Jesus, like how did you not succeed at that point? How did you not kind of get past the threshold of celebrity or whatever it was then?
I was too shy. I was too, I couldn't put myself forward at all. And some of the recordings were done in a way that I wouldn't have wanted them done.
Hmm.
The producer at that time was God. And so you didn't go against what their ideas. And yeah, I was not the right kind of person. I didn't, I had great faith in my songs, but not so much in my being able to perform them.
Hmm.
Because there wasn't a place for me really. A
Right.
scruffy student with a guitar. That it just I yeah I think about it so much. Why could I not really push myself through? And I don't have an answer except that I was just not right for that world, and
Right.
I couldn't um I couldn't cope with it really.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that it was, you were so shy, and then like there's another person I can think about that I feel similar, like has a similar kind of experience with, being a performer and a musician, where they also felt very shy and played this kind of very introverted music, very kind of personal and like quiet music at that. And it's just like I don't know, it just seems so funny. Like, why would you want to be a pop star if you didn't have the kind of uh what's the word I'm looking for? The not pride, but the ability to that outgoingness to want to perform and to want to be in front of people.
I know. It doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah, I mean, it's strange.
Yeah, it is strange. I think I wanted it so much, but I didn't know how to get it. I didn't know
Hmm.
how to navigate the people and
Right.
the people who had the power. Um, I you know, I was a
Right.
bit I was a bit stupid.
Oh, sure. Well, we all were when we're teens. But
Yeah,
but at the same time,
yeah.
you had such a great like in the industry. I mean, you met with Andrew Oldham was his name, right?
Andrew Loog Oldham, who was the manager of the Rolling Stones,
Right.
he, he was only 21, but he'd already brought them to huge success. I was 20. He gave me one of their songs to record as my first single. And so
Hmm.
you think that that would be a great in, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it didn't work. It really didn't work.
Yeah.
Whether it was the song itself, the way I sang it, the recording, or the promotion that just wasn't there. Um, I don't know. I had such hopes for it,
Right.
and it
Well,
didn't work.
so it's funny. The other thing about that is like I know that I personally struggle with my own kind of like insecurity when it comes to being a musician and performer and like, having people hear what you do.
Mm.
Your recordings were great. Like they are good, solid performances, which something that I have never been able to achieve. Listening to your music, I'm just like, well, this is like a kind of perfect example of what a song should be. You don't have like any flubs. It's like it's just a perfect recording, you know?
Oh.
So I mean that should have been able to I didn't know why that wouldn't have propelled you or kind of like given you the courage to kind of continue and kind of persevere and just kind of keep on working at it, essentially, I guess.
Well, I did for a while. I
Right.
recorded with Andrew Oldham again. I recorded with another producer, but nothing ever happened to the recordings. Um, I think possibly because there was so much going on at the time, and it was
Hmm.
also new. People like Andrew Oldham and Mickey Most, and people uh, taking the industry from the old guard and trying and making it for the young. And there were so many of us, so many singers, so many recording artists.
Hmm.
And in a way, it was kind of luck whether you got through, whether the radio would play your music. If they didn't, what else was there? And so,
Right.
yeah, it was a very difficult world to navigate. And
Hmm.
I didn't make it.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Well, and so I mean, the way that you describe that actually kind of sounds what I understand to be like the modern music industry to be like as well. So where do you feel like
Uh,
that is now?
I think that new musicians have more ability to get their music out there or to find their audience. Whereas back then, the block of whether you were going to be played on the TV or radio, you, what else was there? There was no other way. But now
Hmm.
there are plenty of ways to try to get your music across. Um, but in a way, you're right. There are so many of us
Right, right.
that
And they're all channeling into those platforms, the Bandcamps and the Spotify's and
yeah.
whatnot. So now there's, I mean, the estimate is what, like 100,000 songs released on Spotify a day?
Oh.
Yeah, it's daunting. Yeah,
It is daunting. That's right. Oh my goodness. Yes. If you haven't already got a foot in the door, wow, it's
right.
hard.
Yeah. I mean, do
Well,
you what is your experience with it now? I mean, I know that you're not kind of currently actively releasing any music, but even the albums that you have out now, the three of them and the singles and the compilation that you have, where does that fall into the modern music industry realm as far as like, how is it still reaching people, do you think?
I think so. Yes. Yes, it is still reaching people, which is extraordinary to me that I don't actually make any effort to promote things anymore. That they go up, they're making their own way.
Hmm.
Especially Diamond Day. Well, that has just another Diamond Day has always made its own way. I have never done anything for it really,
Right.
uh, and I think I'm just really lucky that the music itself has found its audience, and yeah, I haven't really helped it at all.
Yeah. That's interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that you were lucky for sure. Um, so now let's move back into kind of the modern realm because now I asked you here to speak about an album that's influential to you, and obviously the question may have maybe not been relayed to you in the best way possible, but you chose Lambchop's Ohio.
Yes, yeah, I did because I love it. I didn't realize that it was supposed to be something influential on me, but for me. But on the other hand, there's one song I couldn't decide between Nixon and Ohio, but there's one song on Nixon that I do feel influenced me, and that's Up With People.
Hmm.
And I just love that song. And at the end, he's very passionate about that. We've screwed up our lives, but come on, progeny, come on, progeny. And I thought, yes, 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 this is what I want. And certainly one of the songs, well, the song at the beginning of my second album, Look After Him, is pretty much that, come on, the next the next generations, please come on and yeah, come on, Progeny. And in the fact, in way, I wish I'd called that album Progeny because it is very much about my kids and the next generation.
Hmm.
But I didn't think of it until it was too late. But
These things happen.
yeah, but then on Ohio, that there are the way that Kurt Wagner writes his lyrics. I think it's not been so much of an influence on me, but I have loved it so much. The way that he doesn't make things obvious. You don't really know what each song is completely about. You,
Absolutely. Yes.
you have to,
That was a problem for me, given a day's notice.
oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, I dug in as best I could and I was trying to figure it out. And then that's the conclusion I came to. I was just like, you cannot figure this out.
Can't figure it out. And in a way, I kind of love that because then you can make what you want of it or make what means
Yes,
something to you of it.
true.
And um, and also I chose it because when I came back to music, when we were promoting Look Aftering in 2005, 2006, and 7, our paths crossed. Lambchop and my paths crossed 4 or 5 times in that period, and I just came to like them so much. And then to hear what they were doing, um, as well as Kurt's lyrics and his voice, which I absolutely love. It was the other musicians, the piano player called Tony Crow. You can only just about hear him on this album, but he's a big guy with great big hands, and he always tells terrible jokes on stage, but his piano playing is
Uh-huh.
angelic. It's absolutely gorgeous, and in several of those songs you can just hear him putting in really important notes here and there. And that really did influence me for when I went on to make my third album, Heartleap.
Hmm.
Have single notes every so often, like Tony does, I think
I
was
see.
very important to me. I tried it. I tried to do it myself. But to play like Tony does, I just adored him. We met him in Barcelona to begin with, and we were in a lift together, all of us. And he asked me my name, and I said, he said, "Oh," and he bowed down. I thought, how on earth do you know about me? It was so great. And then William Tyler, the guitarist on most of Kurt's albums,
Yeah.
uh, we met them in Nashville. I did a show in Nashville, and William came to see us, and Kurt did too. And Kurt said, "I think you're so incredible to have strings on the stage. I had a violinist and a cellist as well as guitarist and other things." And he said, "That's a really good idea." I don't know why. Is that very unusual to have a violin and a cellist on the stage? But he seemed impressed by that. But
Hmm.
William Tyler, the guitarist, he took us out in his old Volvo, and he took us around Nashville and took us to breakfast. And he's just so kind, so kind. And then to
Hmm.
hear his music that he's done by himself afterwards, it's just a lovely connection. And to listen to Ohio and to pick out William and to pick out Tony
Hmm.
is a great treat to me.
Yeah.
I love that I knew the actual people.
Yeah, well, that's also kind of a funny thing when you get to know people personally whose music that you love, and kind of you have that kind of relationship. Like you're just like, oh, I can hear him now, and like now I want to listen for him now too. That type of thing. It's
Yeah,
very very interesting.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
so let's see. So I was curious. I mean, like given the opportunity to kind of answer this question, this difficult question. I mean, um, obviously it wasn't proposed to you in the best way, but I was kind of thinking like I don't know. I was maybe assuming what you might choose, and I was just like, oh, maybe she'll choose the freewheeling Bob Dylan, or maybe she'll choose something by Donovan, or maybe she'll choose Neil Young's at the after the gold rush, and so like I was just kind of curious what like how this how this came to be, like how do you decided on this answer?
I think because I listened to it so much.
Hmm.
At, at one point, I just listened and listened and listened, and trying to make sense of it, of the lyrics, and yeah, why did I choose that one? I don't actually know. I mean, I think I should have maybe chosen something by Blue Nile, which again has affected me hugely over the
Hmm.
years. I think I wouldn't have known what to say about the freewheeling Bob Dylan, except the incredible influence it had on me. I was, how old was I? 20. I was 20. I was 20 when I came across that album,
Yeah.
and it had a huge effect on me because it opened my eyes, opened my mind to a world that I hadn't considered before, and educated me. And so, yeah, I could have chosen that one.
Hmm.
I wouldn't have chosen Donovan's one because I didn't really know very much of his music at all. Just when I actually knew him, I knew what he was singing at that time, but I didn't know much about his albums.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, why did I choose this one? I've been trying to think all day.
Me too. It's
One,
funny.
sorry. Yeah. Well, there are just some bits of it that I completely love. And
Hmm.
as I was saying, it is partly because of Tony Crow and his beautiful piano playing. And
Yeah.
and there are some lyrics that I really love, and I don't know why I love them, but that in a song called National Talk Like a Pirate Day. I mean, why would you call National Talk Like a Pirate Day? It's a long song, but at the
Yeah.
end, until it's time to sing this song over my grave, like the boy who just forgets the morning shade, or the girl who gets the hound dog to behave, I will sing to you. Now, why does that mean so much to me?
Yeah.
I love those lines.
Yeah, I mean, they are very evocative. I mean, because like you said earlier, I mean, it seems like I think I read through all of the lyrics for this album very quickly.
Right.
Sometimes I usually try to listen to the music along with the words as they're kind of being sung, but in
Uh-huh.
this case, I kind of just had to read them almost as if they were just poems. And first of all, there's a lot of words. There's a lot of words on these songs.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just it was a lot to digest. And then of course there's the poeticism of the words kind of being put together with the title being like, well, why is this even called this? And then like you were saying, I mean, there's just so much you can pull out of it. Like
Yeah.
each line individually, you could probably pull apart and dissect and kind of relate to your own life in so many different ways,
Oh,
probably.
yes. And also to politically what's going on now, or what was going on when these songs were written, that it's just vaguely referred to, and you think, well, yes, it's
Hmm.
all still the same, and yeah,
It's all
I,
still the same, possibly a little bit more detrimental, probably a little, maybe a little more dangerous feeling,
a little
but
worse.
yeah, a little worse, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so. And there's this line in the same song. Now he thought he was a citizen, but only in the vaguest sort of way. And we will take it to the people, and the people will then take it all away.
Hmm.
Like, well, yeah, that's now, isn't it? And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, history does repeat itself, they say, right?
yeah, it doesn't seem to have changed much.
No, unfortunately, it doesn't seem to do that, especially not for the positive when it does.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. And the last song on that album called I Believe in You, and it's really quite soppy, where soppy is a silly word, but it's really quite sentimental in a way that the other songs aren't. I Believe in Love.
Hmm.
And again, I don't believe virginity is as common as it used to be. Working days and sleeping nights, that black is black and white is white, that Superman and Robin Hood are still alive in Hollywood, and gasoline's in short supply, the rising cost of getting by. I believe in love. I believe in old books. I believe in children. And I believe in you.
Hmm.
It's great. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, very a little prophetic and
Yeah,
very beautiful for sure. And that's actually not written by Kurt Wagner. That is actually originally performed by Don Williams,
I
but
didn't know.
written by another duo. I'll
Aha.
explain that when we get to it, because we're going to go down the list in a little while. But before I get there, um, so I've been reading a lot, obviously, about Lambchop, and I've read that more specifically, Lambchop and Kurt Wagner, specifically as the primary songwriter, has a tendency to write sad songs.
Mhm.
Do you believe you write sad songs?
Melancholy, probably, yes. I think so. I think
Yeah.
um, some of them are hopeful. I think the last song I ever wrote was called Heart Leap. And I think perhaps one of these maybe influenced that one. There's a song called Please Rise, and every line starts with stand.
Hmm.
Stand about, stand aloof, stand aside, stand apart, and stand all the way down. And my last song was every line started with heart. Um, and I
Hmm.
don't know if that was the influence or not, but
Yeah.
I, yeah, I think. that last song, it was sad, but then it was happy, and then it was sad, and then it was happy, and it was about the cycle of happiness and sadness. And I guess, yeah, I think all my songs sad. I think my first songs when I was very young, they were sad, but they were
Yeah.
meant they were meant to be.
Yeah, yeah. You were
Uh,
going for a specific thing. Yeah.
yeah.
And now
Uh,
Harley, just by your describing that song and that album and the progression of it, I mean, it sounds very fitting because a heart leap that what that brings to my mind is the kind of like the either fluttering or the sinking you feel in your heart based on whatever emotion it is, whether it's, extreme love or extreme sadness. Um, you get
yes.
you get a heart leap regardless.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's what it was about. That's just what it was about.
yeah.
The different kinds of of heart feelings.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's maybe something that you actually have in contrast to Kurt Wagner because his lyrics and his songs seem to be very uh, indirect. They are abstract. They're just hard to understand for a lot of reasons. And your songs seem to be much more direct, more personal,
Mhm.
and very much telling a story.
Yes, yes, I think so. And I think, well, maybe that's part of why I keep going back to Kurt Wagner's songs, that trying to make the story, that he's trying to see the picture he's trying to paint. Or
Hmm.
is he even bothering? And I really bothered. I really wanted to make the pictures. And in the
Right.
book, well, I really wanted to make the pictures rather than lay it all out. Um, but I think he's gone the other way. You're right. He's
Yeah, yeah. But it's funny though because he
very
like what I did
abstract.
read is that he does kind of keep a concept in mind. So
Uh-huh.
even as abstract as it may be, he typically tries to latch onto like a theme or a concept and then kind of loosely work around it, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Oh, it would be great to talk to him about it, but I don't suppose he would.
No?
No, I don't think so. I think, like I was saying before, with getting to know Tony Crow and William Tyler, Kurt was sometimes there at my shows, and then he would just disappear.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go and say something to him, but he would just, apart from saying, "Oh, that was good to have strings," he would go, he would disappear.
Yeah. You don't think he would speak with you if you requested, if you wanted to speak with him?
I wonder. But there was one show he did in. I know you want to talk about the album, but I'll just say
Yeah.
this: that
No, that's fine.
there was one show we went to in Glasgow here, and it was just before the election of Obama and McCain, and the whole band were fizzing with emotion of need and want. And when Kurt was singing that song that I talked about at the beginning, Up With People, and he got to the Come On Progeny, he leapt out of his chair. He was sitting with playing and singing it, sitting down, and he just leapt out of his chair. And it was such passion, that from that song and what was going on, and oh, please let Obama win. And we had a drink with them afterwards with the band, and they were so agitated and nervous, and is it going to work? Is it going to work? And it did.
Yeah, luckily.
A long time
Thankfully for
ago
him, I
that.
guess.
Yeah, yeah. Thankfully for him, he didn't have to leap out of his chair at us anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can only imagine what happened when Trump was elected.
Well, exactly. Exactly.
All right. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and move on and maybe speak about this album a little bit.
Okay.
So now, like I said, I had very little time to prepare for this, and so I don't have very many questions. I actually only have a few based on some of the songs.
Okay.
So, the first song is Ohio.
Yeah.
Now, this song immediately made me think of you and your journey to Scotland that you describe in length in your book, because of the focus on the chorus. The
Mm-hmm.
chorus being "Green doesn't matter when you're blue."
Mm-hmm.
I just imagined all of the lush green landscapes that you were exposed to, while at the same time living under some grueling conditions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. I hadn't really thought of that, that it was that exactly what it was. And reading and well, listening to that song, I couldn't figure out back then when this song was written, was he talking about green as in um green politics or green or the environment? Was he talking about that, or was he just talking about the color?
Right, right.
And I couldn't figure it out
Yeah, yeah,
which he meant. And
right.
yeah,
I
what does
also
he?
thought about money. Like the first time I heard it, I was just like, is this about money?
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
yeah, could
Yeah.
be.
Many, many things, right?
Money doesn't matter when you're blue.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Um, well, so and then again about your traveling, I mean, obviously it was difficult. Obviously you did have some very hard times. I mean, I can't possibly imagine it. I was reading your book and at points like actually kind of horrified. I mean,
Oh,
just because it's such a daunting thing. I mean, like you tried to travel from London to Scotland by a
yes,
horse pulling a wagon.
yes, I did.
And this is
Uh,
in the 60s. So this is like, cars are prevalent, very prevalent. It's not like this was the only way that you could travel.
well, we had no money. We had no
Well, yeah.
money. And we just by chance came across this horse and wagon. And it was Donovan who led us up to Scotland, really, that he had bought some islands off the west coast of Scotland that he wanted to people with artists and painters and writers and musicians. And that sounded great to us.
Yeah.
But he went up in a Land Rover. We thought we have no money, we have no way of getting there. We don't have a Land Rover, we don't have a car, we don't have anything, we don't have money for petrol. I know, a horse. Of course, it took us a year and a half to get there, but it
Yeah.
was that hadn't occurred to us. But the actual journey and the the lessons I learned along that journey were invaluable to me, and I'm so glad we didn't have a Land Rover, that
Hmm.
we made that choice, daft as it was at the time. I'm very, very thankful that we did it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and so it also provided all of the inspiration to you for your album that was to come,
Yes.
just another Diamond Day. And I
Yes.
hear that so clearly now. Like now after I have finished the story and now I've listened to your first album again, and it's just like, oh, this is like all of these songs are just essentially describing the journey.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why Joe Boyd wanted to record them as a sort of document of the journey and also a document of the time. And looking back, it was a document of the time because I don't think you'd be able to do it in the same way now. Even though, as you say, there were cars and there were trucks hurtling by us all the time, it was really dangerous what we did.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I wouldn't want my kids to do it, that's for sure. But it was it was quite something, and I'm as I said, I'm really glad that I was able to do it. And writing the songs, I didn't think of recording them when I was writing them. They were to keep me going, to keep us going,
Right.
and some of them are quite rocky, like the wagon rocking along and walking, and that was what I wanted to portray. Or it may not have been conscious. That may have been just the rhythm of life throughout that journey
Right.
walking for miles and miles.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, the songs were written to comfort me, to keep me going. And now I hear from people that they are comforting,
Hmm.
which is nice for me to hear.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that was the one thing I was kind of curious about. Um, was that like I know that you wrote those songs while you were on your journey, but like what was that like for you as far as like how much time would you designate to either like practicing or writing while you were on the road?
I think quite a lot because, well, we tried to do about 10 miles a day, and that would take most of the day. But then there was the evening, and there was, cooking stuff on the fire and all the kinds of things we had to do to look after the horse and the dog, find a place to put the wagon.
Hmm.
There were times when we were just resting the horse. And that would be times that I would find my guitar and yeah, I remember that. Well, there's a song on the album called Jog Along Bess, which is a very happy kind of jogging along song. And I wrote that in the rain, in the mist of a very lonely glen in Scotland, sitting against a stone wall.
Hmm.
I wrote this happy wee song, and that was a good example of me trying to keep things lighter and brighter and to keep going.
Yeah. Wow. Did you ever like feel like you just wanted to give up?
Oh yeah. I really did. But then who was going to look after the horse? Who was
Right.
going to look
Right.
after the dog? Who was going to, where would I go? What would I do? I was on a mission to get to Skye. And although it was so difficult and I was terribly homesick sometimes, uh, when I actually thought of the practicality of leaving, how was I
Mhm.
going to do that? This was my home. This little wagon was my home. I had my dog, I had my horse, I had my partner. Um, yeah, it was, we had established something that was really, you couldn't, how could you leave it? It was really important to both of us to get there, to keep going, to get there.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, Although I at times was really unhappy, um, never enough to make me go, okay, I'm going. I'm off back to London.
Right. Yeah. One thing I just remembered, I remember in your book, you kind of had a couple of moments that you kind of failed at cooking. Have you gotten any better at that?
I still burn things a lot. Yeah, my eldest son calls my cooking homemade just because it's burnt. So, yes, I'm very bad at burning things. But
No,
yes,
you're very good at burning things.
I'm very good at burning things. Yeah, yeah. I haven't progressed much.
Really? Wow. Okay. I just thought it was circumstantial. It's just like trying to make a fire, having very limited resources.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
that's
It was
okay.
very limited. But yes, I've never taken to cookery much.
Yeah. Okay. That's not for everybody.
Nope.
All right, so let's see if we keep on moving along on this album. I'm gonna have to skip the next three songs because I couldn't figure out anything for them.
Okay.
The next one I actually have anything for was A Hold on You,
Uh-huh.
track 5. A Hold
Yeah.
of You, I'm sorry.
A hold of you. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident about this one as far as kind of like understanding it or at least being able to kind of pull something away from it.
Hmm.
The speaker in the song seems disheartened by the inability to communicate to someone.
Uh-huh.
Maybe due to distance, maybe out of loneliness. But the resolve being that through their frustration to communicate with their partner, I'll call them. I'm not sure who it is that they're speaking to, but
Yeah.
they still seem to be able to understand, even almost as if it's through like telepathy.
Uh-huh. I
Um,
I got that it was about a phone.
Specifically a phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
This pencil's got a nice feel to it. It never runs out of lead. It looks like others in our hands. It writes crazy things instead. And then I can't make you respond to this testimony that I wrote. It cannot get a hold of you. It cannot get a hold of you. In the
Huh.
bedroom was a telephone. It was screwed into the wall. There were other phones in other rooms, but on this one you would call. The receiver had a curly cord that would stretch on out the door. Now I keep one in my pants instead. Who could ask for anything more?
That almost sounds like kind of like a limerick of some sort, or
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah,
nursery rhyme, right?
a nursery rhyme, yes. Ah, I love the way he says this, like the great communicator can bark across the yard. I'm such a bad enunciator. I love the way he said that. Understanding is hard.
Yeah,
Now the pencil's dull and the keyboard's broke and the batteries are dead, but somehow you still figure out what's exactly in my head, like
right.
something got a hold of you. And yeah, I love that song. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I think
It
you're
brings
right
it.
when you say it's about a phone, because even the title of it being a hold of you,
Yeah,
that's kind of like comment when you're saying, I got a hold of you when you're reaching someone over the phone.
yes, yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Oh, won't answer, so that you can't get a hold of them.
Right. Yeah. Um, so I don't know. I actually didn't have a question. I just kind of was like happy to know like, oh, I figured one out.
Yeah,
But
I felt the same about it. I think, yeah, well, I think I understand this one. And
yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
wonder if he minds. I wonder if he does he give a shit whether anybody understands his lyrics or not. It's just the word, the sound of them, and the way that he puts the words into the lines.
Hmm.
I love some of that.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, I mean, he obviously has a bit of an audience. I mean, like he's kind of also this kind of underground
Yeah.
cult hero of a sort. Um, like with your audience, do you imagine the same? Do you imagine like if people are understanding what you meant when you with your songs?
Yeah, I think that a lot. I think, have I, because I don't spell it out, not as badly as him, but sorry, not
Not as
badly.
well.
Because I sometimes think, well, maybe, people will get different ideas, different understanding
Right.
of what I've written, but that doesn't really matter because people will take what they want out of something, and I can't dictate that. And
Right.
I think that he's taken that to extremes, but I kind of enjoy that. I kind of enjoy to read through his lyrics, and because I can't hear a lot of them,
Oh
that
yeah.
they're really quite sort of swallowed into the music.
Very mumbly.
Yeah,
He's not a
yeah.
great enunciator.
He's not a great enunciator, and neither am I. So,
Yeah.
I like that.
Right.
Um,
But so then with that being said, then I imagine that he must not really, well, I mean he must care to a degree, but
mhm,
not, because if people can take their own interpretation from the songs, then so be it. Whatever makes you happy, if it whatever you pull out of the song and you pull away from it for yourself,
mhm.
then good on you, I guess, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's frustrating when people don't understand you. Like, and I'm saying this about him as well. It's just like if they don't understand you, what you're saying specifically, I guess that is frustrating to a degree. But if someone is still getting the joy from it because of their own interpretation, then that's still good for them
Yes.
and still
Yeah.
good for you as an artist.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I can't just dictate to people what they will take out of the songs. I just
Hmm.
hope that I get it all across as it's meant, but who knows?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess you don't spend a lot of time thinking about that necessarily. Why should you? I mean, it's out there in the ether, and it's for people to consume however and whenever they will. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on another tack entirely, that if I hear somebody covering one of my songs, if they don't get it right, oh boy, I get really upset. If they haven't got the chord progression right. I mean, why did they not hear what I meant?
right. You should pull them aside and show them. Yeah.
I did one person once a long time ago, and he's never spoken to me since. So,
Really? Wow. Well, hey, at least, hey, he had to be told, it's just so it's only right.
oh, yeah. Oh, I know, but well, yeah, that's what I mean. That you can't, like you were saying, it's out there, and you can't really dictate. You can't really control what's going to happen to a song, um,
Hmm.
or a piece of music, and I have to just let it go, let other people interpret it the way they would like to interpret it. In the
Yeah,
sense
yeah,
that I read Kurt's lyrics, and goodness knows if I've got it right. Um, and
yeah.
would he mind anyway? I get a feeling he wouldn't mind as much as I mind when people get things of mine wrong.
I was because of getting ready for this and doing the research about this album and the band Lambchop, I've come across a few interviews with him, and I feel like I would like to personally speak with him myself. So if I do get the opportunity to, I will ask him for you.
Oh, please, thank you.
And then I'll
Yes.
let you know. I'll let you know what he says.
Oh,
Unless it's horrible, unless it's all bad things about Vashti, I'm not
oh,
I won't let you
okay.
know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't tell me.
No, but the thing is he seems like a very nice person. So actually I don't see how that could possibly happen.
Yeah, I think he seems like a very thoughtful person. And I think because he doesn't put himself out there as a star, that he's an artist, and well, to me anyway, he's an incredible artist, and
Hmm.
I love what he does.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let him know that too.
Thank
Uh,
you.
all right. Well, let's move on to the next song, Sharing a Gibson with Martin Luther King Jr.
Why?
Well, I'll tell you why. I found out this is one of the songs that I've been able to find some information about, which seemed fairly accurate. So it's a little long, so just bear with me. This was inspired by a dream that Kurt Wagner had about sharing a drink with Martin Luther King Jr.
Haha.
Because this is what I realized this after listening to the song twice. I was just like, wait, Gibson is a drink.
Oh,
I thought he was thinking about the guitar, like the
so
guy
did
brand of
I.
guitar. Yeah, yeah,
Huh.
yeah. So it's a drink. And so
Oh.
and then I found this afterwards. I was just like, oh, that makes much more sense. Wagner explained to the Village Voice why he decided to make it into a song. And he says, quote, well, I think maybe what I was fascinated about more than anything was the fact that when you have a dream, there's a very short amount of time that you're able to remember the details of it and it dissipates. The longer you're awake, the more fractured and kind of difficult it becomes to remember it. And that became more fascinating to me than the actual dream. I was like, wow, why is that? What do I remember? So
Wow.
that was a little long, but yeah, so it was basically based on a dream.
Well, it makes much more sense that it's not a guitar. Ah,
Agreed.
I,
Um,
yeah, I should have found that out for myself, but I've really not done any research on the songs or Kurt really very much at all.
sure.
Just my experience of his music, and meeting the band, and just speaking to the different members of the band, but not actually getting into Google and looking for
Sure.
clues. And maybe I should have done that, but
No, no. Why should you?
it's straight off the page, straight out of the speaker, and that makes so much more sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, to be
I
completely,
love that it's a dream. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, to be completely honest with you, I mean, who does that? Nobody takes something that they love and says, well, let me find out all about this, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, like, it's kind of part of the allure is to kind of leave it a little bit of a mystery to you. So I'm
Yes.
sorry that I'm ruining it to a degree.
Not
But
at all. No, that's great, and I'll remember this. I will
yeah,
remember.
yeah. I think it's
Thank
fun. Like my wife was just asking me like this morning because I was trying to do the research and she's just like, "Why are you doing all the research? Shouldn't they just talk about it and just like have them tell you what they know about it?" I was just like, "Yeah, but
you.
if I can bring something to the conversation that's a little different or that's something that they didn't know, then maybe
Oh,
that kind of, you know, makes the conversation a little more interesting. That's
yeah,
what this is all about."
that's great. That's so great. Yeah,
But so
no.
then I have to ask you, I mean, have you ever had a dream be an influence on any of your work?
On my work, no, not really. Um, no, I don't think so. But just that I don't know if you came across the bit in the book where I dreamt that the person who was mending my old guitar had taken
Oh yeah.
machine heads off and replaced them with country and western bright chrome and plastic ones. And this was an old guitar.
Right.
And when I went to collect it, it was true. I think, my goodness, do when you get so close to an instrument, I know this is veering way off subject, but
No, no, not at
when
all.
you get
No.
so close to an instrument, does it really live inside you? And then when it's getting hurt, you feel it. And I really did. That was a really clear dream.
Oh,
Goodness, I
yeah.
remember it very clearly.
Yeah, I do remember that from the story. And well, so that leads me to wonder, I mean, do you have this, has that something like that happened before? Do you have like tendencies for premonitions?
Well, there was a very strange one. I just thought about whether it was a dream or not. I don't know. It probably was. But when I got to the Outer Hebrides, I was living in this very old cottage with a thatched roof that was sort of falling down. It was a really old place, and it had been the home of a piper, and a famous Scottish piper.
Piper,
And
as in bagpiper?
yeah,
Okay.
yes,
All right.
and yes, and my partner was away. I was in the house on my own, and I had a tin whistle with me. Now I can't play a tin whistle,
Hmm.
but I picked this thing up and I played it. I played it like I couldn't play it, but I played it like you should play a tin whistle. And I was standing in the middle of the floor. So was it a dream? Was I getting it out of the walls? What was happening to me?
Oh,
And
you were
when
possessed by the piper.
I was, I was possessed by the piper. Yeah. And when Robert, my partner, came back in, apparently I was standing there just with, saucer eyes, just absolutely freaked completely. And I've never been able to play it since. I can't play a penny
Hmm.
whistle, a tin whistle. So
Wow.
maybe I was standing up and maybe I was dreaming. Who knows? But it was quite an experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Possession seems to be.
Yeah. Yes.
Luckily, it was only playing a tin whistle.
Yeah.
God knows
Yeah.
where that could have went.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Oh, yeah.
I mean, unless of course it was a dream. I mean, I'd like you. This is also partial, mystery of memory. Like, how much do you really remember the situation? Because you can't
Yeah.
even remember if it was in fact a dream or not. But it certainly seems like it could have been.
It could have been. It probably was. It probably was. But yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it was. But the way that it felt was that I could actually play this little tin whistle that I couldn't play.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have
that,
a tin whistle?
no,
Yeah.
no, no, I
Maybe you
don't.
should get one.
I'm not going back to the Outer Hebrides and standing in the middle of an old
Oh, I'm
stone.
not. I don't think you should. I think you should get a tin whistle for your existing home and try it out.
And
See
try
what
it out.
happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't
I'll
be terribly expensive for a tin whistle, right?
penny.
There you go.
They used to be penny whistle. Yeah. No, I'll let you know. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, please do. So let's move on again. Now, I'm going to skip a whole bunch more songs because they were terribly confusing. Uh,
Yes.
of
Oh my.
Raymond, Please Rise, Popeye. The next one, um, Close Up and Personal.
Uh-huh.
So this one was pretty cool to me, and I particularly like the verse that goes, "So what's your problem? What's your beef? I've got this gap between my teeth, and but for this, I might have been a different man."
Oh yeah. Oh.
Now, which along with the rest of the song, sounds like a person at wits with the Lord, considering it also ends with "I am ready for my close up with
Close
the
up with
Lord."
the word. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, goodness, yes. And we all have given to our grave our own excesses. Yeah. Yeah. What did you get from that song? Did you
well, I mean, it kind of sounds to me like a person that is kind of at wits with the Lord. And like if you're saying that, I mean you're taking the perspective of a religious person, so a person that believes in Lord. And if that's the case, then they are kind of at wits with life, like kind of a moment of what do they call that? A kind of like a midlife crisis, kind of
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
questioning their faith, questioning
Yeah.
life, what is reality, what is their meaning.
Crisis.
Yeah,
Yes.
crisis. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my goodness, yes. We all unfold our pages from right to left. Someday I'll get a used guitar and on its string I'll try to play this lonesome tune to you. We all have sinned, we all have saved, and much of this our true heart gave. We all have given to our grave our own excesses. So
Hmm.
watch me go in too somehow. Part Claire de Lune, part sacred cow. I am ready for my close up with the Lord. Yeah, I think you're right. Yes, that's oh help. Oh
Yeah,
help.
right. Well, I
Mm.
mean, so the way that I take it, right? So, that I don't know that phrase. I'm like I'm ready for my close up with the Lord, and then obviously being this thing of kind of like a questioning, kind of like almost demanding an answer, kind of, right? Um,
Yeah.
I was just like for some reason I put it together with like your history, um, that considering that you've announced that you don't plan to write any more music,
Hmm.
is this kind of your way of saying like you're ready for your close up with the Lord?
If I really knew that I would not write any more music, I think I would be very sad. And so I'm not ready. No, I'm not ready.
Okay.
But I've been so completely involved in writing this book and the story and all the promotion after it and the book festivals and all of that, that I haven't picked up my guitar. Now, when I made the last album, when we were mastering it, the mastering engineer, Mandy Pinell, turned to me and said, right, for your next album, I'm going to come up and I'm going to rearrange your studio because it's dreadful. And I said, oh, I'm never doing this again because it had been 5 intense days and well, months of intense days, but those particular mastering days were really intense. And I
Yeah.
said, I'm never doing this again. And the label guy from Fat Cat, Dave Howe, was there. And so he took that seriously and he put it in the press and that the
Oh,
promotion that, to go with the new album. And that was picked up by interviewers and reviewers saying this will be her last album.
oh, okay.
Uh, and it may possibly be. But I would like to think that maybe there is more in there somewhere, more in my hands, more in my guitar.
Yeah.
And so, no, I'm not ready. I'm not
Okay.
to my close up with the Lord just yet.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's so good to hear. I mean, like it's so great to kind of have that clarified because, with the understanding of your musical history the way that it is, it's like it doesn't seem far-fetched. Maybe that's how he understood it as being like, oh, she's done with this. Like this is it.
Yes.
Um,
She's
but
done. She's done.
yeah, because I mean, it seems that you're very well, accustomed and don't mind taking long breaks. You know, uh,
Yeah.
I mean, 30
This is
years from when your first album was released to your next album, and only essentially because of the understanding that your music was actually persevering and gaining an audience.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. It was 30 years from the first issue of Diamond Day until 2000 to it being reissued, and then another 5 years until I made Look Aftering, and then it was 9 years until I made Hartley, and
Yeah,
all kinds of things had happened in that time, and I think well, an awful lot has happened since. It was 2014 for Hartley, and now
right.
well, maybe it's time. Maybe.
Well, are you writing anything? Like, how often do you play at this point, if at all?
Yeah, hardly at all. The last time I played really was to do a show when the book came out. We did a show at the Barbican, and that was fantastic. That was the last time I really concentrated on playing. And I pick it up. I mean, I got it here, right
Yeah.
here.
Oh, okay.
Before we Martin, but I do pick it up every so often, tune it, and put it back again.
Yeah. You don't
Um,
even like you don't like tinker and try to like I mean, I guess you don't consciously think about writing a song, but I mean
no,
nothing has come to you yet?
nothing has come to me yet. I wait and I hope, and I think a lot of musicians sit down and work hard from morning till night and get get things done. And I can't actually work that way. I didn't even work that way writing the book. I had to, I couldn't just sit down in the morning and think, right, I'll write till lunchtime or I'll like write till supper time. Um, I could only write it when it was there to be written.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with the songs that they'll come through when they want to, and when I've got something to say,
Hmm.
which might take a while.
Okay.
Just
Let's think about the writing process for just a second, just because it's
mm,
curious to me. I used to be a writer. I don't really write much anymore, and I feel the same way. It's like when it comes to you, fine, it comes to you, and if you're available to accept it, then
yes,
take it. But
yes.
so how quickly does a song come to you, or has it come to you when you made these records?
I think each song is different, but there's a song on Look Aftering called "The Same but Different." And actually, I was in a supermarket and staring at a row of cans, and suddenly this bunch of words came through, and it was there complete. And I had to rush home and write it down because I would have forgotten it. And it was right there. And yet other songs you can spend ages just crafting and trying to put the words in the right place or the notes in the right place. But that
Hmm.
one, and also the song Here Before, that just came out in a wanna. And actually, so did Hartley. I was looking at my daughter's painting of the White Hart. It was on my desktop, and I had my guitar in my hand, and it just came,
Came.
and
Wow.
it was kind of, I just yeah, the words just they just came. And so, yeah, I have no control over it. I don't know where it comes from, how to start. Actually, I'm now quite frightened of starting in case I forget what I found, and, I should record it, but I don't get to be that organized.
You don't use
Um,
your phone?
that would be a good idea, wouldn't it?
I mean, it's in a pinch, like just kind of quickly put your phone out and just kind of hit record.
Maybe I should try that.
Not a bad place to start. Well, but so now that other thing too is it's like it sounds like you start with words, or you let the words kind of dictate the song. Like you don't write music prior to the lyrics, or vice versa.
Yeah, uh, both different. A song called Blue Shed that's on Hartley. I had the words of that pinned to my speaker for years and years, and I really I should put a tune to that. And I keep every laptop, every computer I've ever had. And I've got an old black Mac that was in the cupboard there, and I got that out, and I thought, did I ever actually write a tune for that one? And I hadn't, but I did have another tune that the words completely fitted, and so I had a whole new song. It
Hmm.
was great. So nothing. It never happens the same way for each song, and I wish it did. I wish it did so that I could catch that moment when they're about to start.
Yeah, and you know what to expect. It's like, oh, I feel it coming.
That
That
would
would
be
be great.
great, wouldn't it? That would be so good. Oh, if only, if
Yeah,
only.
if only it were that easy. But well, some people do consider themselves to be like receptacles, like kind of like a receiver, if you will.
Yes.
And you just have to be open. You just have to have your receiver open to accept the muse.
Yeah, I think so. And it does feel like that sometimes. And uh, as well as when I started writing songs again after Diamond Day came out again, and I picked up my guitar and it didn't sound terrible like it always had for years. Um, I felt as if the songs were already there somewhere,
Hmm.
and they got the chance, they got the right kind of soil, they got the right kind of climate or whatever to actually come out again.
Yeah.
And that's how kind of, I know that's not how it was, but that's how it felt, as if they had been there, buried, long buried under the ground, and that they got
Well,
a chance to come out again.
yeah. That's funny because maybe that's true. Because I
Uh-huh.
was thinking about this. I mean, like one of the other things I was saying with my wife, because we have children, and so when she was pregnant with our first child, I quit the band I was in, and that was kind of it. I was kind of like done. Kind of similar to what you went through. It's just like, obviously you started a family, and it seems like that's when you kind of started to, put the music away and just focus on your family and your family's well-being.
Yeah.
So I've done that now for my oldest is now well, he's going to be 15 in a couple months. And
Wow.
and so now I've started again. I've
Yes.
Yeah, I've been hanging out with these guys and working and going to rehearsals and just kind of playing some songs, working on some music, and it feels good. But at the
Uh-huh.
same time, I feel like I didn't miss it all of these years. I mean, like I did to a degree. Like my instruments are here scattered all over the house, and like I would pick them up occasionally, but never with that same feeling like I'm doing something here, you know?
Right. Yeah. And now you feel that it's coming back. Is it that you're finding
Yeah.
songs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and finding just like the desire to want to make something again. Like I haven't written a song now in Jesus Christ, when's the last song I wrote? Uh Probably at least 12 years.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I've tinkered. I mean, I play the guitar and just like tinker and just kind of like come up with these little riffs and stuff, but nothing that I've kept and nothing that I've made a point to record and kind of like put down somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting now to kind of be revisiting it and kind of coming back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was like, closing a cupboard on it and putting a big padlock on it. And then when I finally actually tried to write again or tried to sing again, it was like opening a cupboard and it was all still there, just where
Yeah.
I'd left it. And I just had to let it come out.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't had that feeling now for a long time, that there is something waiting to
Right.
to emerge.
Yeah.
Little green shoots. But I still, yeah, like I said, I'm not, what does he say? I'm not ready for my close up with the Lord. Not quite yet.
Right. Okay, that sounds great. Well, so in closing, we have the last song on the record, I Believe in You.
Yeah.
Now, which I
And
told you it's a
he didn't
cover.
write that. He didn't write that. I didn't know that. See, so I haven't done any research at all.
That's quite all
But
right.
you're saying that he didn't write that. Wow.
No, it's a cover of a Don Williams tune.
Right.
Don Williams kind of most famously performed it. I guess it's been covered by a few people, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't written by Don. It was written by a duo of Roger Cook and Sam Hogan.
Right.
So, in an interview that I found with an American songwriter, Cook had this to say that the simplest of songs are the toughest to write. Quote,
Mm.
we're trained through our careers to look for something really different, he said, and try to come up with an angle, something just catchy and different. But now and again, you do sit down, you write just a God honest song and with simple lyrics.
Right. And this is it.
And I mean, yeah, this song is it. I mean, I guess more in that article said that how kind of unhappy he was with the first draft of it. But when he had demoed it and brought it to Don Williams, Don wanted to keep it exactly as it was.
Really. Let me
Yeah.
find Don Williams. Wow. Yeah. And I also love about this song that the very quiet intro of the guitar, it sounds as if it's a long way away. And then when Kurt starts singing, he's right there. And then at the end, the same thing happens. It just sort of, I don't know. I don't know why I really love that about that recording. That
Yeah.
it was a beautiful idea to make it such a quiet intro. Yeah,
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
love.
and such a simple song, essentially, about love is kind of the gist of it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, really, and yeah, it's, yeah. Well, it will change how I feel about it that he didn't write it.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, not in any bad way, but I will look at it again and think, yes, that's not him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I think he does quite a few covers. I mean, obviously some are more mysterious like this. I know that there's actually a new version of this album that came out that has a cover of Leonard Cohen's what song is that called? Chelsea Hotel number 2.
Oh, yes, I haven't listened to that. I
Yeah,
will.
yeah. So I mean, and then I saw a video of Kurt Wagner doing the NPR Tiny Desk concert,
Uh-huh.
and he starts off that set covering Bob Dylan.
Oh, right. Mm.
So yeah, covers are not strange to him, it seems.
It seems you've looked into this an awful lot deeper than I have.
For about 4 hours. That's about all the time I've been able to dedicate to this. So
Oh, that's pretty impressive. It really is.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And now I'll have a completely different way of listening to this, I think.
Oh,
Not
I
just
hope for I hope for the better. I hope not for
oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
And try to figure out why I chose it. But yeah, I think I'm glad I did because yeah, I'm glad that you have cleared a few things up for me.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to have helped. I hope that maybe some of his fans might find this to be insightful as well.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah. Well, yeah. I just always thought of him as being a great person, a great
Mm.
artist, and yeah, I appreciate him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have much by Lambchop. As a matter of fact, all I have is this one little 7-inch of his.
All right.
Yeah. Um, I actually sell records, so I've kind of had this for a while now, and
Uh-huh.
it's the only thing of his that I have. One of these little indie jobs where the you
All
just got a
right.
photocopy on the inside and so forth. It's been a while since I've listened to it, actually. I should probably put it on again.
Yeah. See what you can find in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember enjoying it. Because they're a great band. I really do like their music. I haven't listened to a lot of it, you know, because there's so much out there these days.
Well, I know, and yeah, we've got 7 Lamb Chop albums, and I probably only know Nixon and this one. That the other ones haven't grabbed me in the same way, but probably because I'm too lazy to actually because I love this one so much. It's quite difficult, I think, when you find an album that you really, really love, and then the next one comes along, and it's much more difficult to find your way in it. Well, at least that's how I find it. Um,
Yeah, that's a
I,
hard
I
thing for artists. I mean, because
it
there's
is, yeah,
that problem with like trying to follow up your new record or your existing record. How do I top that? How do I make something as good as that?
right, yes, and yeah, when I was writing songs, I did feel that when I had finished a song, I would think, how on earth do I ever write another one? That's uh, yeah, it's hard. Oh, it's so hard. It's all so hard.
Right.
It
And
will
just
really,
and just the perception of your audience. Like how is my audience going to perceive this new song or this new album? Like
yes,
you might love it. You might love it to death and say that this is some of my greatest work, but then, it
Yeah.
goes out and the press gets hold of it and says like, oh, this is garbage compared to that first album.
That happens, and that has happened.
Yes.
And those are the reviews that you remember. That
Yeah.
that you can have wonderful, wonderful, wonderful reviews, and then there's one where the guy says, "Eh," and that stays. It just
Yeah.
stays in there, and so that also makes it quite difficult to follow up and do more.
Hmm.
But yeah, you have to
You have to reach a point where you kind of say like, fuck them.
absolutely fuck up. Certainly him. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly that guy. I'd love to know
So
what
that
that
guy.
guy's name is.
Well, funnily enough, I can never remember it.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It probably is good. Yeah.
It's probably for his sake, his own sake. It's just like, luckily you don't remember him.
Yeah. Or the vibes would be going across
Yeah,
the universe.
yeah. You don't want to have. He doesn't want to have a dark alley encounter with you.
No, he doesn't. Oh, that's a shame. Mm.
Yeah. Well, so tell me about the book now. I mean, where does the book stand? It's being uh repressed in the States, I believe. Is that what I heard?
No, no, it isn't. It's just coming from here. It was released here last March, a year ago, and in America in January. But it is an import from here. They haven't pressed it in America, much to
Oh,
my
okay.
disappointment. I thought that was what was going to happen, but apparently that's not the contract I signed. So,
Oh, okay.
so it is available definitely in the US, but it isn't a US version.
Sure.
Um,
Okay.
but there will be a paperback version, I think, to in autumn, and I've been able to amend it a bit, all the bits that had been changed by a copy editor that made me absolutely furious. I've managed to put those bits back. Like I say, I'm a terrible control freak. Everything has to be as I made it, not changed by somebody else. And
Sure.
so yeah, I've put it right for the paperback.
Oh, that's weird. I wonder what copy I got then.
Oh, you got
Um,
you got the right one pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It should
If
be.
it was the one that Howard sent you, yes, that's fine. But there are a few things in there that I have changed for the paperback.
Oh, okay.
Not
Cool.
not nothing vital, only things that annoy me.
Sure, sure. Okay. So that's cool.
But
So in autumn, you're saying it should be on paperback.
paperback, yeah, yeah.
Nice, nice.
Uh, and in July here, I don't know quite why it takes such a long time to get over the Atlantic, but that's
Oh,
the way
yeah.
publishing goes. That's another thing, the publishing world, the literary world is so different to my experience of the music world,
Hmm.
and that's been quite a learning curve, as they say.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did make the book, and I will try to make another one as well. I'm going
Oh,
to,
really?
yeah, because
But won't be another memoir, obviously.
well, there's a bit in the book where I talk about going to Ireland for a year with horses and wagons in 1971. And
Oh,
just sort
okay.
of vaguely refer to it in the book and say, that a lot of adventures and a lot of stories to tell, but maybe that's for another time.
I see.
The year that I spent in Ireland in 71 into 72 was absolutely extraordinary. Traveling with a horse and wagon through the middle of Ireland and then back again up through the north.
And a
Um,
child, right? Didn't you have your first son by
I
that point?
had a child, two dogs, three chickens, and a cat,
That's
and
a
a
lot.
partner, and a
That's a
traveling
lot.
companion in another horse and wagon.
Wow, you
Yeah,
really upgraded the second time around.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was a stove in the wagon.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so
Wow,
I'd
wait,
really
so you are a glutton for punishment. You actually went through it all over again, and plus with more
with it.
people, more.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was extraordinary, and I was in two minds as to whether to put that in the book or not, but it's quite a long story, so I'll do it as something else, as something separate.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
In
in
fact,
that case, I imagine that the idea of possibly writing more material, writing more songs is going to be much further down the road.
or I might find it so difficult to write the story of Ireland that I will just pick up my guitar and think, maybe songwriting is the way to go.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Well, that's great to know then that, at least we have something to expect from you in one way or another, in one form or another.
Yep,
Do,
like the man says, I'm not ready for my close up with the Lord yet.
yeah, that's great. Do you have a website or anything anywhere that people can find you?
I do have a website, anotherday.co.uk, but I haven't been keeping up with it. Um, because it's my nephew who is doing it very kindly for me, and so I feel terrible sometimes saying, "Well, could you put this bit in and could you put that bit in?" And they say, "Well, we really must teach you how to do it for yourself." And I've never actually gotten together with them to get the lessons,
Hmm.
but yeah, there is a website, but it's mostly the historic stuff and not anything that I'm doing now.
Okay. And you don't do social media.
Occasionally, occasionally, yeah, a few little bits of Twitter and a few little tiny bits on Facebook, but nothing much, nothing much.
Yeah.
I should do it because I look at my contemporaries, the writers who are on the same imprint as me, and I think they're on Twitter all the time, saying what they're doing and what's happening. I think, why
Yeah.
don't I do that? Because that
Because it's
would.
poison. That's why.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. I mean, all social media, it's so anxiety writing. Like it's just it fills you with
Sure.
anxiety. Yeah. It's just not great.
Absolutely. I think that's why I don't do it because, I think,
Yeah.
well, what if somebody doesn't like what I've said? Oh my God. And then it's there forever. And yeah,
Right.
so yeah, I do stay away.
Hmm.
So, I'm sure the publisher would like me to do more. But
Okay. Well, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Yeah, I understand it's a kind of a necessary evil, I mean, it's one of those
yeah.
things.
Oh, is it necessary? I don't
I
know.
mean, as a creator, yeah, it's a wonderful free way to publicize for yourself. Yeah. No, I know.
Yes.
It's the same. I feel the same way.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, it's poison.
Yeah, and that kind of exposure as well is quite unnerving, I
Yeah,
think.
but it's the modern way, right? That's the problem.
Yeah,
It's the way that people expect to hear about things and to kind of connect and to be relevant.
yeah. I'm irrelevant.
No, not at all. It's just so daunting, I mean,
Yeah,
like I
really.
like yeah, I just wish everything were the way that it were. Every person as they age, it always goes that way. It's always just like, oh, if things were so much better when we were young, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, well, I don't know that they were. A lot of things were, but a lot of things weren't.
in some ways, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Quite a
Hmm.
lot. Quite a lot. I think, people say, oh, the 60s, it all went by, it all just disappeared, and it didn't, there were a lot of things that were changed because of it in subtle ways. And I'm quite proud of the way that we were in the 60s and the changes that were made in the 60s. It
Hmm.
didn't it didn't disappear. And I don't know how I got onto that. Oh, because of things being better. Oh, better in our day.
Yeah, right.
But no, I think things were made better. Some things were made better. I hope. I hope.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I just have to say that it's been quite an honor speaking with you.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been great, really
Yeah.
good. Thank
Great.
you for giving me a lot to think about. And I'm so sorry you had such a short time but you've clearly gotten a lot more out of it than I was able to give you. So
Oh no, that's quite all right. No, it was great. I really enjoyed our conversation. This was a great talk and a wonderful opportunity.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
thank you, Howard, as well. That's good of him. So yeah, best wishes.
Same here. Best of luck to you with your book and a possible new book and a new record, maybe.
Who knows? Yeah, I'm not done yet.
I hope to hear. I hope to hear soon. Vinyl and Vision is a Psychic Static production. Theme song written and performed by Jeff Robbins of 123 Astronaut.
I'd sit there in the sun.